Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Full Moon Fridays here on the Outpost Unknown YouTube channel. My name is Matthew, joined once again by Steve,
Yes, I have returned once again.
and hopefully a little more excitedly, Borp.
I am also here. Are you getting over a cold, Matt?
Yes, I have been sick. Excuse me, of course, right on cue. Hold on. All right, yeah, I've been sick since like this past Tuesday, and I mean, what can I say? I'm sick. Yeah. So for the next few episodes, which will probably end up being a few months, people listening will probably hear, "What is wrong with Matthew's voice?"
It's
Well,
husky. It's husky.
yeah. I got that radio voice.
Yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing
yeah.
Going now. So, yeah. So this week we are going to talk about a movie Full Moon put out in 1990 called Crash and Burn. And I'm going to turn it over to Steve here. Steve, why did you select this movie and then the subsequent movie that we're going to be watching?
I picked Crash and Burn solely based on the box art. We were running out of like really like big name full moon movies that all of us recognize. So I went to Wikipedia and just brought up the list of everything Full Moon ever made. And so as I came across like interesting sounding titles, I'd throw that title in the Tubi and see, is that even an option? And I saw Crash and Burn, and there's just like a giant robot on it. I was like, yeah, sure, good enough.
Okay, fair.
All right. So, Matt,
Go
have
ahead,
you
Mark.
heard
Yeah.
of this? Have you heard of this movie before?
Yes, I've heard of this. I'd
Okay,
actually
okay.
seen it before.
Okay.
Is
Cool.
that all you wanted to know?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Matt, it's okay for us to like skip a week and do this some other time.
Well, we're fucking here. We're doing it. We're here. We're doing it.
Yes,
All right.
that's all I wanted to know because this
Yeah.
seemed pretty obscure.
I had forgotten most of it. I saw it way back in the day. It was one of those films that, as I'm watching it, you remember like bits and pieces of it, but not enough to like, oh yeah, I remember like renting the VHS and putting this in. So it was a nice sort of refresh for me.
Right.
I think so. Yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. This is directed by our favorite director, Mr. Charles Band himself. So Steve, take us through Crash and Burn.
So Crash and Burn has like a lot of world building going on. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic society where the government was overthrown by an evil corporation that destroyed the ozone layer
Unicom,
and
right?
Unicom, and banned all personal computer usage, and also they deployed giant robots as well as basically Fallout 4 synths to fight wars and capture people, and also because the ozone is destroyed, there are just crazy thermal storms going across all over the globe. There's like a dense backstory to set up what ultimately becomes like a very like small scale, like 6 character story. But I'm into it. So there's a guy named Tyson, and he is basically like a delivery boy, I guess. He's delivering some Freon or something to a television station. The people in the television station are, you know, on paper employed by Unicom, but they greatly dislike Unicom, and so sometimes that message bleeds out into the airwaves. Tyson goes and delivers this Freon. There's this big dude hosting a talk show that he's basically like shaming 2 hookers, but the hookers are like, yeah, we provide a needed service, and we're very good at what we do. Like the hookers are not taking any shit from this like scuzzy dude here. I don't even remember any of these characters' names. I know like Tyson. Uh, the guy running the news station is Lathan. His granddaughter, I think, is Erin, and then Bill Moseley plays Quinn, who's just kind of like the technician in the place. Uh, so the delivery is made. You get all sorts of backstory. Lathan talks about, yeah, Unicom ain't shit. Fuck, fuck the police. He's very unhappy with what's going on. Uh, Tyson's like, all right, delivery complete. It's time for me to leave. But now a thermal storm is coming. So a thermal storm is just going to, greatly increase the temps. It's basically just not safe to be outside until a thermal storm passes. And so he's invited to stay in this new station for a few days. Uh, and then suddenly someone kills Quinn, or sorry, someone kills Lathan. Lathan is again the news guy who runs the station. He goes to just kind of randomly fuck around with like the power generator one night, and then you see someone's boot come and kick him over the side of the railing. This news station, like, I've never been inside a news station before, so I don't know how big these things are, but this thing is built like a fucking like oil refinery or
Yeah, it's
something.
massive.
It's massive. There are so many different levels. It's big enough that you can be kicked off of a railing and fall several stories down to your death, and that's on the inside of the building, not like on the outside of it. So Lathan's dead. So this movie kind of becomes a murder mystery at this point. Who killed Lathan? Well, you get more backstory where Unicom uses Fallout 4 synths. They basically look human. It's kind of like, think Terminator. And so they devise like a Thing-esque plan to figure out who the synth is. Like the little girl Erin found a computer in the basement and saw that basically messages or instructions were transmitted to someone in the base. Someone in the base here is a synth. Uh, so she starts cutting people. She just grabs a scalpel and just starts like. At one point, she just fucking stabs Tyson. It just takes a chunk out of his arm. But she grabs a scalpel, and everyone like basically gives her their finger so that she can cut. And if you bleed red, you are considered to be a human. Um, well, this doesn't work out because ultimately, like, everyone passes the test. There's a scene where like the skeezy guy, he does not want to get cut. So Quinn grabs his hand and then Erin cuts him. And Erin, everyone else is just like got their finger pricked. She just fucking stabs this guy in the hand and like drags the scalpel down the length of his palm. It's like fucking hell. Like Erin went to the goddamn red place and couldn't control herself for a minute. Uh,
You got to do what you got to do.
do what you got to do, like
and that guy
Leprechaun of
sucks.
the Hood
That guy sucks.
says. Yeah, if anyone in this movie deserves a stabbing, it's that guy that got his hand cut deeply.
Yeah, because he's not only like really misogynistic, he's also like just not helpful to the group, and he like constantly goes off on his own and wants to do his own thing. So I get it.
He's the guy in this movie that has the position of power, and so you hate him. You find out like because everyone, I think Tyson or Erin or Quinn or someone asks Lathan like, why do you keep this guy around? Like his show sucks. He's not generating any sort of ratings. He's obviously like a creep. Like, what are you doing here? And the response is, well, his uncle owns the mortgage on the building, so we can't get rid of him. So he is the rich, powerful guy in this movie as far as that goes. So yeah, he is made to hate, and he does a good job of making me hate him and wanting me to see him get his hand stabbed. So, the test doesn't work. Erin is very disappointed because she was the one that found her grandpa Lathan's body, and she's immediately like, this is a murder. Something happened. Something is wrong. This is a murder. Whereas everyone else thinks, oh yeah, he's an old guy. He slipped and fell. He could have had a heart attack and fell over the railing. But Erin is adamant that this was a murder. But her test to check the blood did not work out well, and so everyone just kind of goes about their day. They treat Erin, she's like 16. By the way, Erin is Jack Death's wife from Trancers 2. I was like, where have I seen this person before? And of course, she was in other Full Moon movies.
Yeah, it's so weird that she's they go out of their way to show that she's underage in this, like 16 years old. And then the next Transfers movie in which she plays the wife of Jack Death was the following year. And it makes sense because I think when we were talking about that, we were like, she looks way too young to be Jack Death's wife. Yeah. Now it all makes sense.
How old was she when
I looked it
Crash
up.
and Burn
She's
came
like
out?
20, 21.
Okay.
Oh man, she
Yeah.
looks a lot younger than that.
Yeah.
She plays a 16-year-old, and they probably could have made her like 13, and I had been like, "Yep, story checks out." Like, I would not have questioned it whatsoever. She looks incredibly young in this
Just
movie.
a strange bit of cross pollination here with this kind of subject. Anyone out listening to this, I do a show with my friend Jeremy called Exhuming the X-Files, and we just watched an episode in which Jewel State is a girl who played Kaylee in Firefly, and she's been in a lot of stuff. She plays this kidnapped girl who's supposed to be 15 years old, but in reality, she had literally just turned 13 when they cast her, but she looked older. Like, she does not look like essentially a 12-year-old girl in the X-Files episode. So it's just kind of weird how some of these actresses can play different ages. You just, yeah, strange age thing with young women lately on Outpost Unknown.
I do not want to.
This is not good branding.
Where do I go from here?
Oh, God. It hurts to laugh. I'm gonna go on mute.
We've heard enough about nubile women. Let's
Yes. Matt, how about you just not make comments on women like the rest of this episode?
I'm just pointing out it's weird.
Yeah.
Strange things have been we've been watching strange things. Is all I'm saying.
Okay, well, Erin is treated like she was just being an over-dramatic teen, and kind of everyone does their best to just go back to normal, knowing that there's a dead man in the camp now, but everyone's confident that it's not murder. Well, going back to the delivery that Tyson made, like he was delivering Freon, I think some sort of coolant. I'm just gonna call it coolant for lack of a better term. Uh, he brings the coolant in early in the movie and gives it to Lathan, and then Lathan's like, "Oh, thank you, we were almost out of this." Well, there was another scene previously where Tyson found like a shitload of coolant, like way more coolant than you would expect for someone saying, "Oh yeah, we were almost out of this." So Tyson had like just banged like the hot news anchor that I don't even remember her name. She does very little in this movie except bang Tyson
Is it
until the
Paris
end.
or something? Paris?
Paris, we'll call her Paris. So Tyson banged Paris, and then he just kind of wakes up in the middle of the night, like, wait a minute, like dots have begun to connect, and so he goes down to where the coolant was delivered, and he pours some of it out, and it looks just like human blood. He's like, "Fuck!" Like the test was a dud. If there's a robot here, the robot's going to bleed this red liquid, and it's gonna look like like they're human. And so he grabs a fucking shotgun and just starts hunting around the building, and he eventually comes across Quinn, Bill Moseley, getting ready to kill Erin, and they fight, and it turns out that Bill Moseley is the synth. He's the Terminator, and he just starts going fucking nuts here. He's like,
Yeah.
I was just given the order to just kill Lathan, but the Erin, when you were talking about you said that a synth may as well just go ahead and kill everyone because everyone's a threat to the synth now because people know that a synth exists. And he's like, yeah, you know what? That's a good fucking idea. And so he just starts going nuts, and he turns it into a game. Like he has the chance to to basically kill Erin and Tyson, and he just fucking does the goddamn Dr. Zoidberg like quick crab run away because he just wants to go into. He's basically gone crazy because his programming has been fucked up. But he's like,
Doesn't he remove a chip from his
yeah,
head
he
or
pulls out a
something?
chip
Yeah.
in his head. But like I don't know, somehow Aaron saying a synth might as well kill everyone corrupted him in a way where he's like, actually, yeah, that's a good fucking idea. But this robot synth, Bill Moseley, has gone nuts, and he's like reveling in it. he is like thrilled to have gone nuts and escape his robot programming. And so he's just making a game out of this. He quickly just like shuffles away to hide because he wants to fuck with people. He wants to like cultivate the fear of these people. He wants to just like I don't know, he wants to scare the shit out of them before he ultimately kills them. So
Yeah,
how did Sorry, go ahead.
this is the moment of the film where I actually got engaged with it. Like as soon as Bill Moseley goes crazy and goes full, chop top sort of Bill Moseley wild, then I was fully into it. I wasn't really into this film up until this point.
I was just about to say the exact same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was hanging in there. Like I was interested in the premise because it's like a post-apocalyptic murder mystery, and it's like I was like with like elements of The Thing. I was like, okay, like
Yeah.
the movie it's real slow. This needed to be like a 55-minute cut as opposed to like the hour and 20 minutes we got. But there was like something there, and I wanted to see where it went. I was interested, and then yeah, this is the point where it's like, okay, my interest has now paid off. Uh, so how did Tyson figure out that Quinn, also known as Bill Moseley, was the bad guy? Well, he just kind of puzzles it out and thinks that like these synths run on this coolant, and this coolant is incredibly toxic to humans. Well, Quinn allowed his finger to be cut, and then immediately the Scuzzy guy was cut. In between all the other cuts, Erin was like washing off the scalpel, but she didn't wash it off between cutting Quinn and then cutting Scuzzy guy. And so when he cuts Scuzzy guy, his hand immediately starts swelling up, and Tyson figures out that
That's an
that
understatement.
yes, his hand is like a fucking like hand shaped water balloon later on in this movie. Uh, but yeah, Tyson figures out that well, like his hand was swelling up because he was having like a reaction to the fact that Erin essentially just poisoned him. I really like enjoyed that they put this much thought into kind of resolving this mini murder mystery that they had going on. But anyways, Quinn is just going around terrorizing people. He runs into the Scuzzy guy, whose hand again is just incredibly swollen, like 3 times the size he should have been. And Quinn's like, "Oh no, looks like we're gonna have to amputate," and just rips the dude's arm off, and then like grabs him and like shoves his head into a light socket to kill him. Uh, then Quinn goes and murders one of the hookers in the shower. Like one of the hookers had like kind of made a pass at Quinn earlier, and so when Quinn gets in the shower with her, she's all about it. But he's like, "Oh, close your eyes. I've got a surprise." Quinn is like bleeding, robot blood profusely. Like he's getting like a Terminator-esque like half missing face, and so this murder robot starts banging the hooker while her eyes are closed, and when she opens her eyes, he's like, "Ha, I gotcha," and then he kills her.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens.
That is what happened.
Yeah,
Everything is correct. So at this point, it just becomes like a I don't know, like a kind of slasher-esque movie with the robot. The remaining humans group together to try to keep safe, keep whatnot. It's a horror movie, so ultimately that doesn't work out. There's not really much to talk about from here. It's just your typical slasher movie up until the finale. Quinn, like one by one, starts taking people out. Ultimately, what everyone decides is, well, they manage to like kill air quotes Quinn. They think he's dead. They take pictures of his body. They're gonna go and like link up with some resistance organization that's fighting against Unicom. The last 3 survivors are Tyson, Erin, and Paris, the news anchor that Tyson's banging. And so they think they have killed Quinn. They're going to go and just get in a truck and go find like a resistance group to join up with. Well, of course, this is a horror movie. Quinn is not dead, so Quinn attacks them, and completely unrelated to the attack, the thermal storm is just destroying this building. So like the giant like antenna and satellite dish on top of the building are falling over. It falls over, and both Quinn and Tyson are trapped under the wreckage. And Tyson can't move. I don't know why no one thought, let me just clear like a little bit of sand out from around his foot so he can pull it out from under this wreckage. But Quinn is basically like just ripping his own arms and legs off to be free to go and fuck with Tyson. Meanwhile, there's a giant fucking robot that's just been outside this entire movie. And Aaron, just little by little throughout the movie, has like gone to the basement in the computer that she's not supposed to have, and she's just trying to get the robot to work. She successfully gets the robot to work. The robot rescues Tyson, kills Quinn, and so now you think, okay, happy ending. Tyson and Paris are gonna be a couple. Maybe Aaron will come with them, and they'll like kind of exist as a pseudo family. But they go back into the building and they're hunting around for Aaron, and they go to like they go to wherever they think she's going to be, and they find a note, and all the note says is there are two. And so Tyson turns around, and now Paris has gone crazy. Paris is also a synth.
Surprise!
Surprise! Twist
Yeah.
upon twist. So Paris is about to kill Tyson, and then Aaron shows up with a shotgun and kills Paris. And now Tyson and Aaron actually do get to flee and survive this. And that's pretty much where the movie ends. They're going to go and link up with some resistance group that's fighting back against Unicom. And then we never hear or see from these characters again.
Which is a shame, because this movie's actually pretty good.
Yes, I was goddamn shocked.
Bort, what are your thoughts on Crash and Burn?
I think, like most of these movies, it has pacing issues, but in general, I had a pretty good time with this. Like the moment where it gets revealed what actually type of movie this is, because you're watching it, it's like, okay, well, this is kind of like a riff on The Thing. They're not going to do crazy body horror like The Thing because they don't have the Thing budget. They're like waiting to kind of see what type of movie this is. And as soon as that Bill Moseley like robot reveal happens, I was like all in on this. I'm like, yes, this is fun. This is obviously playing very similar kind of shop top energy to Bill Moseley, which is very fun. But I kind of wish that reveal happened somewhere in the second act, because then the movie also has like 3 different fake out endings. Like a lot happens in this third act. I did not see the poster for this movie before I watched it. I think had I watched the poster, I maybe would have been a little disappointed that the giant robot wasn't a bigger factor. But I mean, that's how they get you. I like this. It's not amazing, but perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I think my thoughts are pretty similar to yours. I like the opening setup where when he first shows up and you have that kind of fallouty sort of vibe. Like they did a lot. I don't know if it was the natural wind of this deserty area, but you have like all the dust flying through the air and the rundown cars and everything like that. And then you have that like creepy weirdo guy who's going out to like fill up his, I don't know, his futuristic cycle or whatever, like motorcycle sort of thing. And he's all gross and nasty. And they're like, oh man, the ozone layer's gone. And it's like fucked up his brain, right? And he's like, hey, put those, you should put those sunglasses on, or whatever, man. It's going to hurt yourself. I liked all of that. But once they got to like the main, what everyone else, I found it really boring.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is going to happen here? I feel like it's a good 30 to 40 minutes before Bill Moseley makes his turn. And I don't know whose decision it was for Bill Moseley to be just wild, batshit crazy Bill Moseley. I assume that Charles Band hired him for that, because that's kind of what Bill Moseley is known for, is that kind of over the top thing. And he's so good at it that, once he goes nuts and like runs away, like laughing like Skeletor, like until next time, and running off. I was totally into it, and I liked everything going through the rest of the film. I liked all the weird twists and turns and all of that. So yeah, other than the opening sequences, which involved again strange scenes of young girls looking at themselves in the mirror and
Matt's really hung up on that, isn't he?
I'm saying I liked it other than that stuff, Steve. I think it's weird that
Yeah.
Charles Band continues to put this kind of stuff in his movies. Makes me wonder. Charles makes me wonder. Other than that, I thought this was a pretty fun movie. It was so refreshing to actually watch something that's good for the show once in a while. So I don't know, like, is it actually a good fun movie, or is it just so much better than the other crap we've been watching that it feels refreshing? I don't know. But ultimately, I liked Crash and Burn.
I do feel like there's maybe some of that going on. Like if this was one of the first movies we would have watched for the show, we maybe wouldn't have been as kind to it. But compared
we are just struggling to find something in Full Moon in that category.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Prior to recording this, prior to watching this, I looked up how many episodes of Full Moon Fridays we had recorded before now, and this will be our 37th episode.
Oh
and
my
so
gosh!
I was like, 36 previous episodes, and like out of that 36, how many movies did we think were actually good? And I feel like the number is like 6 or 7, like one.
It's gotta be low.
Yeah.
Maybe 1/6 to 1/5 of Full Moon movies that we've watched are actually enjoyable, and the rest is garbage. And so I was expecting this to continue to be garbage, but no, I greatly enjoyed it. Like you two did. Like, even I will even say that, like, there was a lot of opportunity for this movie to go wrong, because the setup in the beginning is so slow. But even then, I didn't mind it. Like, it was a slow burn that I wish had been faster, but I was still hooked on, like, the premise of this post-apocalyptic thing-esque murder mystery with, like, elements of, like, Terminator. It's like, okay, like, there's something here, and I wish they would get through the build up quicker, but I also really hope that the payoff is worth it, and I felt the payoff was absolutely worth it. I did obviously see the cover art and saw that robot, and so I was like, okay, what's the robot doing here? And, like, the robot is in the movie for such a small amount of time. I almost feel like Charles Band just had some robot B-roll from, like, another scrapped movie sitting around. He's like, I gotta find something to do with this.
Probably Robot Jocks.
Yeah, it could be. But it's like, I got to find something to do with this footage too. And so, like, I almost wonder if, like, this script was written just to let Charles Band use this robot footage. I did see that in the marketing, tons and tons and tons of attention was called to this robot that's only in the movie for 4 minutes, to the point where in some markets this movie is actually called Robot Jocks 2: Crash and Burn, which is a complete fucking lie. If anyone watched this movie because they thought it was a sequel to Robot Jocks, Charles Band fucking lied to them.
He would never do that.
He would never do that.
No.
Had to been somebody else.
Yeah, I was shocked by how much I liked this movie, and I don't know if it's just, like, fatigue, and I'm grasping at any, like, tiny good amount of quality that comes my way, or if this is legitimately good. But I had a good time with this. Like, this is a movie that in my head I thought, it's not even in my head. Like, I looked to see if it was on YouTube so I could watch it on, like, 1.25 speed, and it wasn't, and I was very crushed when I realized that. But then when I actually started the movie, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm here for this.
Maybe that just
I had a good time with
means,
it.
Steve, you've been watching the Full Moon movies wrong. Maybe you have to watch all of them at full speed to really understand the greatness of them.
You have to
greatness.
You're cheating yourself.
You have to watch it full 5 minutes intro credits. Just 1.2.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen a movie came out the exact same year as this? Directed by Richard Stanley. It's called Hardware.
I have not.
Sounds very familiar.
You guys should watch it. This reminded me a lot of that. Excuse me. We're basically, well, I don't want to spoil it for you. So
this reminded me a lot of Screamers.
Oh, I could see that. Yeah. But Hardware, watch that movie. It's 1,000 times better than this, and it's very similar looking and It's got the same sort of post-apocalyptic setting. The color palette is very similar. And it's made by an infinitely superior director. With
Right.
Stanley.
Right.
Hardware, 1990.
Okay.
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia here. It says this film was released on DVD by Full Moon in 2000, but was discontinued for copyright reasons. The DVD contained a widescreen print of the film, and I think what's interesting about that is I watched this on Tubi, and it was a very poor quality
Mhm.
Oh
print
yeah.
of it. It's not even like widescreen on Tubi. Well, it's like I guess maybe it's technically widescreen, but it doesn't. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like it doesn't even take up the entire uh, television screen. It's like a little box within. It's surrounded by a black box. I guess is what I would say, and it's just a really really poor quality print on there. And I'm curious because I couldn't find any information about it. Is why does this movie get such a shitty treatment from Charles Band, whereas you know. I don't know, Evil Bong 9 gets a 4K release. It seems weird
Yeah.
to me, but I'd like to see this in a much better uh, print for sure.
I'm absolutely dreading the day where in this show we actually have to start watching the Evil Bong movies.
There's so many of them.
I know, which is probably why we're going to watch them, because we like to do franchises. At some point we're going to get there, and I might kill myself.
The very final episode of Full Moon Fridays is just Steve live on air killing himself.
Evil Bong might be the end of me, yes.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 10 movies.
There's
My
10.
fucking God.
Yeah, it's getting up there into Puppet Master territory. I mean,
my God.
one could argue that the Evil Bong movies are probably more popular with Full Moon fans of this generation than the
Yep.
Puppet Master movies ever were.
But look
What?
what we're doing. Full Moon fans are like terrible decision makers.
That's true. That's true. I wonder I wonder how much of like watching these movies when we were young was like how much did we know that these movies were actually bad, but there was always that gem, right? You'd always find that Trancers or Crash and Burn or Puppet Master 1 or 2 that you're like, I'm going to keep taking these VHSs. I'm going to keep renting them because even though a lot of them are bad, there's going to be one that's going to be awesome. And it was kind of like, a mystery box sort of thing.
I don't know that I had any concept of a good movie when I was younger. I just watched whatever I had access to.
Okay, well that shoots down that theory. Thanks, asshole. All right. Any other final statements about Crash and Burn that you guys want to mention?
At some point, we will watch Robot Jox and see if there's any way that we can shoehorn this into being an actual sequel to Robot Jox.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Sure.
This was actually part of a box set that Charles Band released that contained Borp's favorite movie, Meridian Kiss the Beast.
No.
Contained Dr. Mordred, which we're going to be talking about next time, and Head of the Family. So
we have covered the entire Crash and Burn box set.
Yes.
Or we will like an episode from now.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
All right, that's it, everybody. Stay tuned next time where we talk about Doctor Strange, actually Dr. Mordred, and I promise I will not be sick. Surely in 2 weeks I will be healed and my voice will be back to normal. Until then, everybody, goodbye.